On the Rocks with Mallie Fox strongly discourages drinking and driving. Please do not operate any vehicle while impaired. Please give your keys to someone responsible or hire the services of someone who can get you safely to where you need to go. So please don't drink and drive. However, drinking and doing TikTok videos is totally acceptable. Who doesn't want to watch your sweet choreographed moves at 2 o'clock in the morning?
It's been a hard day. Time to kick back, relax, and prepare a cocktail. Preferably one that is on the rocks with Mallie Fox.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to On the Rocks with Mallie Fox. I'm Mallie, and back in Minnesota is my producer, Tim Dennis. Hi, Tim.
Hello.
So it's been a while since we've recorded an episode, and I miss you like crazy.
Oh, I miss you too.
Yeah, so I thought that this time we would do, well, last time I said we were going to do a short version, and it ended up being just as long as our other episodes. So now, I'm saying it's going to be a short one because I just want to catch up with you, talk about what's going on, and then maybe do a couple of paranormal stories. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how have you been? Things are crazy.
It has been.
And, our world has totally changed.
Yeah.
So, anything new with you?
Everything and nothing. I got this teeny tiny little foot wound I've been trying to heal, and that's going all right. It's weird because in this new world, I don't have access to my doctor all the time. So I've been trying to heal it on my own at home. I think I've seen him. I see him on an average of once a month, and he throws me about a month's worth of supplies, and he kind of cleans up the wound a little bit. And I keep in touch with him over the internet, and it's kind of weird. I mean, I've become really good at dressing wounds. So there's that. And besides doing the whole Darkness Radio Beyond the Darkness thing with Dave, I don't get out much, if anything at all. I kind of it's not a bad thing. I'm kind of quarantined, barricaded to my home, and I keep myself entertained. You know what? I'm kind of a homebody as it is, so to me this isn't a bad thing. I know for a lot of people who are social, this is kind of a prison-like atmosphere. For me, it's not. I enjoy my home, so I like this. It's I'm very good with this. So I do miss my family, though. I have not seen my family at all since Super Bowl. So I do miss them a lot. I do miss seeing my nephews and stuff. I miss seeing my mom. I had to see my mom and dad. They both went into the hospital in the same week. My mom had a heart issue. My dad had sepsis, an infection. So I saw them both in the hospital. Well, I didn't see my mom in the hospital. I saw my dad in the hospital. I had to take him to the hospital. Other than that, I haven't seen either one of them in person. So
now, have they ever talked about doing the Zoom?
Well, yeah, I've talked to my mom on not FaceTime but Skype, on FaceTime. It was kind of sad. My nephew's birthday was in March 29th, and we sang happy birthday to him by FaceTime and had cake and everything. So that happened. But that was kind of the first real, hit you in the feels type of thing. That you couldn't all be together, but my sister got us all together by FaceTime, in 3 separate phones. That was kind of, before the whole, I shouldn't say before the whole Zoom thing, but not everybody had Zoom or was aware of it because there's a lot of older people in my family. And technology is a funny thing with older people, as you know.
It's bad with me. I can't even make fun of my parents for, not being tech savvy. There we go. We'll just say that.
Tech savvy.
Because I am not tech savvy. So it's like I can't make fun of them for for doing it. I can make fun of my dad for shuffling, but
right, yeah,
that's about it.
So we all, did the cake thing in the end of March, and yeah, so it's I've been a little isolated, so that hits me in the feels every once in a while, because I'm used to getting together with my mom for breakfast, or I'm used to seeing my nephews whenever I need my kid fix, but other than that, I'm okay. I'm all right. I just, and I miss sports. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I get my pro wrestling fix in every week because they're still operating, but,
no, but they still don't have fans though, correct? Because I watched, like in the very beginning, I caught them doing something, and it was so strange not to see them being egged on by like the audience and stuff. Yeah. That when they're like, insulting each other and coming up with these, these little quips and stuff, and there's no response to it. It's kind of weird. It
is. WWE is totally without fans and no response whatsoever, and it feels like you're missing a limb when you watch them. WrestleMania was really weird this year. Yeah. Although they did some interesting things with a couple of matches that were different, and actually good different. Kind of cinematic almost. But AEW actually has some of their wrestlers around ringside kind of cheering and booing their wrestlers, which is good because it does add some ambiance. So it's a little more enjoyable to watch. I hate to say this. It's a little more enjoyable to watch AEW than WWE. I know I'll get slaughtered by some wrestling fans. So I still enjoy my pro wrestling for that matter. That kind of takes me away from some of the world. Yeah. But other than that, life is good. I can't complain. I do, on very rare occasion, get out of the house. I try not to leave the house because I am very much immunocompromised. So,
right.
Although I'll tell you something, Mallie, which is kind of scary. One of my doctor appointments, I went to, and I don't think I've told you this. I might have. When I went to the doctor, when I went to my pain doctor, she and I were talking, and I was describing, I thought I had type A flu when I came back from the Chris Jericho cruise.
Okay.
So I was sitting and I was describing the symptoms because we were talking back and forth, and the more I was describing it to her, she said, "I don't think you had the type A flu. I think you had the coronavirus."
Yeah.
And she said, "You definitely need to get a serology test." And the more I started thinking about it, the more I really do believe I did have coronavirus, because the reports started coming out that coronavirus was spreading throughout the U.S. beginning in January. And I came off a ship that had people from 22 countries on it at the end of January. And I started looking at the Chris Jericho Cruisers page on Facebook. And I started talking to a couple of people who had tested for the flu and didn't tested negative for type A and type B flu. They didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And they had the exact same symptoms I did. So I might have already had it.
Which I'm not surprised, because I think a lot of people in January and February did have something, because I remember, like, I even had something bad for a few days with like the fever, and all I did was sleep, and my throat felt like it was, closing shut, and just all of these things, which I rarely get sick. I get migraine headaches, but that's like it.
Yeah.
And then Derek also came down with it about the same time. So it was, something where it's like, okay, but I know a lot of people that became deathly ill, like around that time, January and February. And I just figured, oh, it's just, something's being passed around. But, now that we know what's going on, I'm totally positive that it, a lot of people actually had it, sooner than people thought.
I remember barely being able to get back from Florida. I remember thinking I'm not going to make my flight. I could barely stay conscious for a couple of hours, like an hour or two. The body aches were amazing. I mean, they were just out of control. I was cramping real bad. I had tightness in my chest. And at first I thought it was my cannabis vape, my medical cannabis vape. So I wasn't using that at all.
But remember about that time too, weren't there a lot of reports of people becoming extremely ill, if not dying from the vape?
Yes.
From the people that were, using the vape.
From the off-market vape. But I was getting mine from the medical dispensary here in Minneapolis. And those you supposedly didn't have to worry about. And I had contacted the medical dispensary here in town, and I asked a couple of times, do I have to worry about this vape? And they said, no, you shouldn't have to worry about it at all. So I thought, well, that's weird. Well, why am I getting this tightness in my chest? And it just kind of came on when I was in Florida. And it went away just, after about maybe a month or so, 3 weeks to a month. And, but I had the tightness and it was just, it was weird. It was, and I thought, and I took, believe it or not, I took, after I started feeling the tightness and everything, I took Mucinex, 12-hour Mucinex back to back, and vitamin D. I loaded up big time on vitamin D and, everything I could to try and up my immune system. Because I am a really brittle diabetic. And luckily I got through it, but I remember a couple of times my cousin looked right at me and just said, you look like you're going to keel over. And I remember them wanting to take me to the hospital, but I thought, God, if I go to a hospital in Florida, I'm going to die.
Right.
I just remember thinking, I just need to get home. If I just get home, I'll be okay.
Right.
So, I'm really...
That's how I feel sometimes after a long late night partying. If I just get home, I'll live.
I just need to get home and get to a toilet and I'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. Praying to the porcelain gods. Then if I just get a Subway sandwich, I'll be okay. I'll live.
Exactly. So I think I'm really interested in getting a serology test because I want to know if I have the antibodies, and not necessarily that I don't need to worry, because I think you still need to worry. I don't think you're out of the woods if you have the antibody.
Because doesn't Madonna have? Isn't she claiming that she has the antibodies?
I'm not sure. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I thought I saw an article where she says that she actually has it.
I for some odd reason, I don't know, it's just a gut feeling. I don't think you're completely out of the woods if you have the antibody. I have a feeling that, this thing is mutated, I think, a couple of times. It seems like the strain that was in Italy is stronger than the strain that was in China. And, it's weird that it seems like the strain that you have in Michigan is stronger than a strain that might be, in the South or the strain that's here in Minnesota. It seems like we have almost a 10% death rate. Yeah. It's like 7 to 10%. Although we have the strain that we have seems to be running through the nursing homes. We don't have as much in the general population. It's odd. But there's still coronavirus, in the general population in Minnesota. Don't get me wrong, but
right.
But it's deadly. The one that's here in Minnesota.
Well, and remember, they were also saying when it first, came out that it was, all older people with underlying conditions, and now it's anybody can get it. I mean, now you have children that are being diagnosed with it.
Right. And
we just had I think she was 5. I mean, she had underlying conditions, but she was still only 5, and she unfortunately passed away.
The first severe case here in Minnesota was a 30-year-old athlete who was in critical condition. He just went home, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was on a ventilator. He was I know he had some underlying conditions. I think he might have had asthma or something to that effect, but completely healthy.
Right.
And he damn near bit the bullet. He damn near died.
Yeah. Now, how are you doing with like social media? With people, I mean, I say that these people are showing their true colors. Okay. I mean, my friends are my friends. I might not agree with, your beliefs, whatever, but I still respect your belief, your ideas, whatever. I might not agree, but what you think is what you think. I'm not going to push my ideas and my opinions onto you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, so I've watched people on, I don't get on social media that much anymore because it's actually, it stresses me out. And I think it stresses me out because I become really sad because I see the ugliness in people. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like lately I've seen so many people turn against each other. Yeah. And I feel like if people only saw like what we see, like, okay, so last I heard Michigan, well, it keeps going back and forth between being the third worst state and the fourth worst state regarding the virus. Yep. And where I live 10 minutes outside of Detroit. Mm-hmm. So I live in a town called Wyandotte, and it's, I learned it's not south of Detroit, like the song, because south of Detroit's in the river, which I'm 3 blocks from, but, anyway, but we're south of it and, of the city, and the town I live in, it has one of the major hospitals. And so I'm constantly hearing, the ambulances and the fire trucks and all that stuff because the surrounding cities go to the hospital that's in my town. Mm-hmm. And it's scary. It's like in the movies because I see these tents. They have white tents outside. No one's allowed to go in the hospital if you're not you're not the person that's ill. And I see the stress of the nurses and doctors in this area because it's almost like, how like Rochester is a big medical town because of, the Mayo Clinic and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Wyandott's very much like that. I mean, we have all these medical buildings and then the hospital and everything. And with my husband being a firefighter, he sees things firsthand. Mm-hmm. So I've never seen him so stressed out about something than I have with what's going on. And it's because he says you go in the hospital and it's not just like 1 or 2 rooms that has a patient, with the COVID-19. Mm-hmm. He says it's every single room on ventilators. It's a very scary thing. And he has to fully gear up when he goes on runs because he says you can't see it. So he said he would rather go into like a 3-story fire because at least you know what to expect. Right. He's like, every other person that he has to go on these calls, they may or may not have it. And when once he has to give CPR to, he is fully, geared up. And he says it makes it more difficult to try and, do compressions and things like that. But also the town that he's a firefighter for, he says that they're 1% of all senior homes. That town has 1% of all senior homes than the whole state of, in the whole state of Michigan, which is a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, and a lot of them, well, one specifically has been in the news because they've had such an outbreak, of victims. So, or I shouldn't say victims because that sounds really bad, but of people that have come down with the virus. Infected. And so, yeah, that are infected. So, I mean, we see it on the really bad end. And sometimes I wish that people that say it's not real, that it's all a hoax, or people are overreacting. If you live where we live and you saw the tents outside the hospital and you were in the medical field, you would see it. And my concern, not only is the second wave to happen, but my concern is the emotional state of these first responders, of the people on the front line, of, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because like a couple weeks ago, the doctor in the emergency room in New York, she committed suicide. Yeah. And the EMT, the new kid in New York, he committed suicide. I mean, so I'm afraid, or I'm sad to think, that once this does blow over, how is it going to affect the psyche, and how are these people going to be able to handle it? Are they going to be able to get the help that they need? Just like with veterans and stuff when they come back from war. A lot of them don't get the help that they need.
They don't.
With the post-traumatic stress syndrome. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
No, and you're absolutely right. It's tough for me to go on social media on a daily basis and see the division between Facebook friends. And I even have that division in my own family, Mallie, which is tough to see. Because I think to myself, these are friends and family that if they had one thing change, if they had one death in their immediate sphere of influence from COVID-19, their opinion would change immediately. And I'll put it in a simple way to them. If I died tomorrow from COVID-19, would your opinion change? And I would think immediately the answer would be yes.
Yeah.
And not to put it back on me, but I'm just saying, if I died tomorrow from COVID-19, would your opinion change? And I think the question should remain in your head. If the most valuable person in my life died tomorrow from COVID-19, would my opinion change? And I think that's the thing. If you ever want to put something in perspective in something like a pandemic, that's the question you should always ask yourself, because things do feel far away when you're suffering in your own way from a situation. And a lot of times when you're sitting there and you don't have any income coming in, you're a couple weeks away from becoming destitute, from potentially being evicted from an apartment, or having the light shut off, or having something happen to you because of something that you can't control. Well, of course, you side on the side of your pocketbook and not, the side of a pandemic that you can't see or feel or touch or have anything to do with. You're not compassionate to the side of a disease that you feel you're never going to get nor ever going to run into. I get that side of it, especially if you're a healthy human being who's never had any major things happen to you. But you have to understand, myself, having been on the other side of that, says to you, who's been on the healthy side of things, think about it from the side of you lose somebody close to you tomorrow. Would you be compassionate? Would you start thinking, you know what, there's more to life than money. There's more to life than I got to make my next buck. Because you can always find ways to make money. You can always find ways to get out of temporary situations. Your life is permanent. And there's no coming back from dying from a disease. There's no coming back from being changed from a disease. They're finding out new things about the coronavirus and the way it changes you physically. You're talking about now blood clots, strokes, decreased lung capacity from this virus, and all the things that are changing after the fact that you've had this coronavirus. This isn't the flu, and
right.
And people try to compartmentalize this thing as, oh, it's just the flu, so they can dismiss it and go on with life. You can't just say, oh, it's just the flu. It's not just the flu. And it's easy to dismiss science and knowledge to move forward so that you can get going with your life again. You know what? We'd all like to get going with our life again. But, I'm sure the people who went through the Spanish flu wanted to just get going with their life again. Unfortunately, Mallie, we've gone through a period of over the past decade or two of instant gratification. We're used to getting what we want when we want and in the minute we want it. We're not going to get it. We got to go back to the old ways. It sucks, Unfortunately, we're not a generation that's used to just sitting there in a corner and waiting.
Yeah.
But we have to.
Well, oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, it's just that we have to. We just have to. We have to wait it out. A virus doesn't move out of the way because you want it to move out of the way. And
right. Or I want my Starbucks to open back up.
That's right.
I haven't had Starbucks in months.
Just because you want coffee and a haircut and you want to be able to go to your favorite restaurant or go to a movie, the virus isn't going to go, oh, pardon me, let me go over here and or let me go to a different country so you can get that taken care of.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. And what I'm finding is that, my parents didn't realize how bad it was until I started telling them things. And, but what I'm finding is that my parents, the roles have reversed. Like, I am now getting mad at my parents for not, like, abiding to the, safety stuff. So, like, I call my parents and they're in the car and they're on their way to, and my parents have both had cancer. Mm-hmm. And my father has diabetes. And I mean, my mom, if I ever said she was in her 70s, she'd kill me because she's not 70 yet. But my dad is. He's 72. And so my concern is, they've got underlying issues.
Right.
And, here they are acting like everything is normal. They're going together to the stores, not just one, but they're hitting up like a couple of stores.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're going to go get food, for takeout, and they're doing all this stuff. And I'm like, stay at home, have it delivered, or at least just only one of you go out.
Right.
Have one of my brothers who, they're fine health wise. Have them go get your food.
Right.
Or, run your errands. You guys need to stay home. And they're like, whatever, and my parents are, my father's self-employed because he's an attorney, but he's going still into the office every day. And he's like, well, it's only just me and then my clients that come in. Well, hello, they're still coming in. Well, we do the 6 feet distance. No, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then my mom finally started staying home and working from home just like maybe about a week ago. But it's like, I get frustrated with them because, they're not adhering. They're not listening. And I think it'll take, something really, unfortunately, bad happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
For it to finally, sink in. Because I have 3 brothers. And one of them was getting married this summer. Actually, they were getting married in May 30th in New York. And they did not postpone their wedding.
What?
Until like a few weeks ago. Well, I'd say maybe like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I kept saying, like, I was talking to my mom and I'm like, are they going to, postpone the wedding? Because right now New York is in lockdown. We're in lockdown. Minnesota, I don't think had anything placed yet. Mm-hmm. And mom's like, oh, they're just going to wait and see. And I'm like, what? I understand it's going to be a pain in the butt to postpone a wedding. And I know they want to get married. And I know all of this stuff, but, I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. So, it was just like my mom was just like so hopeful and just kind of not clueless, because that's not nice to say, but just kind of, I don't think, aware of how bad it was. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so they did postpone the wedding.
That's good.
But in my head, I'm like, and if they're listening, I love you both, but because I know Cynthia listens. I pray everything is open, but it is once again in New York in August. Are things going to be open back up again? Are they going to allow, large gatherings? Are they, because like you and I were talking about earlier, you've got these paranormal conventions that have all been canceling.
Right.
And so it's like, when is a safe date to start to go, okay, we're fine with a large gathering. We're, I don't know. I just don't know how, because like where we live, everything is canceled basically for the summer. Mm-hmm. Like through August, everything is canceled. So, and Voodoo Fest, which I've gone to a couple times down in New Orleans, that's, well, I shouldn't say a couple times, only once, but been there a couple times. But it's canceled, and that's in October. So, I kind of get upset when people act inconvenienced and they get all, up in arms. You've got people bringing guns into the state capitol.
Yeah.
And, oh boy. And I understand we were really strict with like the fishing. Okay. I don't think we needed to prohibit that, but, and golfing, we just opened up the golf courses again. Okay, I understand that because you can keep your distance. But there's some things that you just have to, just grin and bear it until things get better.
Well, fishing opener is next weekend here in Minnesota, and in Wisconsin, other fishing opener this weekend. And it seems to me that, there are certain things you can get away with and open up and so that people who really, and I get the whole going stir crazy. I really do get that.
Yeah, you're going to have to cut me out of my house to get me out. I've eaten so much stuff. I can't fit into my pants. I mean, I seriously have gained some weight. All this homemade bread and everything I've been eating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to be like that, my 600-pound life. And you're going to have to extract me by removing my door frame to get me out the way this is going. It is so bad.
But there's safe ways to do stuff. And then I'll tell you, Mallie, we were talking off air about things you see right outside your door.
Yeah.
I recently moved, had to move, and moved, right over by a popular walking area. I'll put it that way without giving away my location. And I look outside my window and there's a walking trail, popular walking trail. And there's a parking lot right near this walking trail. Now, when this first started, that parking lot was empty. Mm-hmm. Within the last 3 weeks, now this hasn't even been within the last week or two, within the last 3 weeks to a month, that parking lot has been full every single day. And that walking trail it's not people like single file within 6 feet of each other.
Yeah, keeping their distance.
Keeping their distance, wearing a mask, nothing like that. These are people that are walking in threes within 2 feet of each other.
And they don't look like they live in the same house.
No,
they don't look like they're family members.
Nope, they're not family members. They're talking, laughing, having a great time. And even in my own neighborhood, I'll sit out on I'll go on my front porch and I'll sit out on my front porch and enjoy a nice day if it's nice outside. I'll just sit on my front porch and watch the world go by. And literally, I can watch the world go by. I see kids from different families out playing with each other and like it's a normal spring day.
Yep.
I don't get it. I don't get the mindset of I'll just say Anoka County. The Anoka County wannabe rednecks and the people that think, well, if I just let the kids go out and play, they'll burn off some energy and nothing's going to happen. Well, come on, people.
Yeah. Well, and here they're giving out tickets. So because when it first started, there was people gathering to play basketball and even taking down the nets and stuff. It wasn't stopping them. So now they give out tickets. So if you have gatherings in your yard, if you're at the park with the big group and stuff like that, they actually give out a hefty fine.
I have an Anoka County sheriff that lives 2 blocks away that does nothing but sit in his car. He doesn't do nothing.
Oh.
Doesn't write a ticket, doesn't warn anybody, doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, I feel, because, I would like to think that I was kind of laid back at one time, but I just want to yell because I'm the same boat. Derek calls me, the Wisteria Lane Desperate Housewife lady because I'm always, okay, what's my neighbor doing? Oh, look at that. They got this. They're bringing it home. Or, oh, look at that. But, I feel like I know what's going on with my neighborhood now. And I'm watching people walk back and forth. Like the house across from me is a rental and they're young kids. Mm-hmm. Well, I say kids, but they're in their 20s. And I'm watching all these cars pull up and go in the house. And part of me just wants to yell out the door, social distancing, because I'm just I'm becoming a little crab. It's just oh my God, you guys, I know that it's been a long time and I understand, that you're getting frustrated and, you're freaking out a little bit, but come on, guys. There's at least 4 or 5 people that I know for sure do not, because, I watch. Right, so now right. I know these people do not live there, and they're just going to be social. And I'm
and I know some people might have said to themselves when I said I haven't seen my family in God knows how long. Well, why don't you go and sneak over and see them? I do want to mention, I'm very proud of my sister. My sister works for the Fairview hospital system and in the clinic system. And here in Minnesota, they converted over Bethesda Hospital to a COVID-19 facility.
Okay.
And my sister Steph is one of the ones who converted that hospital over. So she does go in and out of a lot of these different hospitals all day long. So she hasn't, and she does also help take care of our mom. But she doesn't hug my mom. She hasn't given her a hug and a kiss since it started. She keeps 6 feet distance when she does see my mom. But basically I haven't seen my nephews because of that. And I haven't, she doesn't want me to come over because of that.
Yeah.
So, I haven't seen my nephews because of that.
Well, and Derek and I had to have the conversation when the stuff started happening, do we, because he was like, I can sleep at the station. I mean, I can stay away from the house, because he was worried about infecting me. And I was like, it's fine. We'll just take precautions, and because, that was one of his concerns, because there are some of the firefighters there that are staying basically there.
Right.
So it's just, it's strange. And what's funny is, okay, so I haven't left my house that much because he usually does all of the shopping and everything. So especially since first responders can go in with the elderly like an hour before the stores open up.
Yep.
So he just goes and does the grocery shopping, so he doesn't have to deal with a lot of crowds. And so I basically don't do anything. Hence why you're gonna have to cut me out of this house. And but I went to McDonald's the other day because he was just plum tuckered out, and I'm like, you know what? I will go get McDonald's because well, I'm hungry. Yeah. No surprise there. And then I'm like, I'll go to McDonald's. I almost forgot how to drive. It had been 2 months. I got in my car and I was like, what the hell? It felt so weird. I felt like I was, 16 again, trying to learn how to drive.
Now imagine doing that. I for the first time in a month, I had to go to the doctor. And so I got my van. Now I drive with a left-footed accelerator. So imagine doing that, but you got to drive left-footed. So I did that too. I got my van and I went, okay, how do I do this again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was funny because my car smelled brand new because I just got it in October, but since I haven't driven it for 2 months, I was like, ooh, new car smell. This is lovely. Even though the birds have taken a crap on my car because it hasn't moved. It looks like someone spilled paint on it. I'm going to have to take that through the wash one of these days. But I was like, oh, yeah, so that was my experience trying to go to McDonald's. And I parked. Okay, so here's my other dilemma. So I go to McDonald's. Okay, I have short arms. I'm only 5'4". I have short arms, and I pull up. And now that they've got that like plexiglass like safety shield thing in their windows, you know what I'm talking about?
No, because they haven't put them in the drive-thrus here yet.
Well, they've got them here, so it only gives you like a certain amount of room to like hand you your stuff. Okay. Between me and my short arms, and they can't get past a certain part of the window because of the plexiglass.
Okay.
I had the hardest time trying to get my food. Because there wasn't a lot of room between my car door and the building. So it was like I couldn't like open it up like you do with cash machines.
Yeah.
When you can't reach. I was like, I'm sure the people behind me are just seeing my fingers like in the air like, gimme. Because I couldn't reach my bag of food. Anyway, that's my story.
Finally, some first world problems in this third world atmosphere.
Yeah, I can't drive my car and can't reach for my McDonald's. So, oh my gosh. And then, so Derek was making fun of me today because he goes, hey, are you going to shower for the podcast? And I looked at it and I go, why?
Why?
He's like, well, I don't know if you want to, just feel really confident in your best. And I'm looking at him like, I got a bra on and deodorant. We're good. I was like, that's my major decision for today. we're all good.
My major decision.
Yep. I'm like, nope, got a bra and deodorant. We're good. He's just looking at me like, what did I marry? I gave him false advertising. So, but anyway, he's just like, I'm sure he's going to be like, Mallie, why are you telling everyone about your showering? Yeah, whatever.
Just to take the shine off the penny for most of the guys listening right now. That's why.
Damn, she's wearing a bra. Oh, I showered last night, folks. We're good for another couple hours.
I thought you were going to say couple days.
No, just 2 more hours. I haven't worked out, so we're good. We're good. I put some of that dry shampoo in my hair. We're fine. Dry shampoo. That's right. That does exist. Yeah, it smells like coconut.
You're talking to a guy who shaves his head and washes his head with soap. I have no idea what. It's a great life when you have a bald head. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Except for your toupee stories.
Yeah, those are embarrassing. They really are.
And another thing. So I've been very, watching stuff, and everyone's talking about how, like organized and clean their houses, and it's never been this clean or organized. And is that the same case for you? Because my house has never been more destroyed in my entire life. It is so bad right now. Well, so I live in a really old house. It was built in 1883. Mm-hmm. And when I bought it, the people that had lived there had been here for like 50 years, never updated, never whatever. So I've spent a lot of time and money for the first floor. Mm-hmm. And on the second floor, it's not done. It's like bare, like wood beams, like all that stuff. Like it's basically, you got to start from scratch. There's like no drywall, there's nothing, right? Mm-hmm. So I've used it as a storage area for like a long time. Of course, packed it full of crap, which I don't know why I kept. But, from all my moves. But so now I've been like bringing it down, going through stuff, purging, whatever. But my house is such a disaster right now. If anyone ever walked in, I would be so embarrassed. So like when all these people are saying, I'm so organized, my house is like the cleanest it's ever been, I just want to give them the bird because I am the opposite. With all this time on my hands, I've created a disaster.
Well, I'll tell you, when this thing's finally over and you do get back to Minnesota, you got to see this new house. It's actually got an interesting story. I'll tell you the interesting story. We're in this city called Andover. Okay. And it used to belong to the Bird Lady of Andover.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? You've heard of the Birdman of Alcatraz. Well, the Bird Lady of Andover used to own this house. And supposedly she had birds everywhere. Well, the guys who bought this house, our landlords, had to tear everything apart on the inside and remodel because the house was just destroyed.
Right.
Okay. So it's actually gorgeously remodeled on the inside. So everything on the inside is I'm trying to remember the name of the laminate on the floor. It's not a hardwood floor, but it's
where it looks like hardwood. But it looks like hardwood, but it's a laminate. It's a Does it start with a P?
I think so.
Not particle. Crap.
Yeah,
it's on the tip of my tongue. I know what you're talking about.
Right. It's like a grayish hardwood laminate, but it's gorgeous. It looks great. But even in the basement's finished and everything too. So, but yeah, down in the basement where I've got the studio, I got the foot injuries shortly after we moved in here. So I meant to finish the I've got the blankets with the soundproofing. I've got the blankets up and I almost had the soundproofing finished, but I didn't get it finished. So there's still a little bit of echo in here.
Okay.
But I didn't get to finish anything else in here. So the studio's in ruins. And there's boxes everywhere. So I didn't get to finish that. So when my foot heals, I'll be able to finish the studio. Mm-hmm. But everything else is finished in the basement. So it looks really nice. And everything's finished upstairs, and everything looks really nice there. But yeah, the studio's in ruin. So I get that. I get the whole, everybody's like, everything's impeccably clean.
Right.
I don't get it. No, there's areas of the house that are not impeccably clean.
Yep.
Yeah.
My house was lovely before I was not working. And then I'm like, oh, well, we have construction people coming out this summer, so I might as well, start working upstairs, cleaning it out. And now I'm like, Jesus Christ, because I don't know what to do with half the stuff. I'm like, what do I do? So anyway, but yeah, my house is I look like a hoarder right now. My lovely first floor that I remodeled and, completed, it's just, yeah, I look like I should be on like TLC. I mean, it's just bad. It's bad. But I am curious though, because I think I've told you before that I have stuff that goes on in my house, with paranormal stuff. Mm-hmm. I bought my house sight unseen, but the whole town is basically haunted. It's like Shepherdstown. Like everyone has a story in this town. It's a river town. We had the mob. We had the Prohibition. We had, the Wyandotte Indians. We've had like all of this history. The War of 1812 was fought here. Things like that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, if you ever go like on the Facebook friends page, whatever of the town, everyone has a story of their house being haunted, and all the buildings, you've got your underground tunnels and all that stuff. And because Canada is right across the road, right across the water, right across the water, we also had, the Underground Railroad, supposedly. So, anyway, back to my house. Mm-hmm. So I've had a lot of weird things happen, not just to me, but to like people that have like stayed at my house while I was out of town. And, even kids have seen things. And so I've had a lot of things. I think I should start a blog on all of the things that have happened, because we've had full body apparitions to, people getting touched, to hearing voices, to, not from outside, to things moving. Like I used to hear things, like I would be, down in my living room, and I would hear like big boxes drag along the floor upstairs. So now I'm wondering, now that upstairs is being emptied out, am I going to still hear things? Or once I move up there, am I going to start, having more things happen, because now I am upstairs. So I'm quite curious to know like what's going to happen. Because I mean, basically every room, something strange that you can't explain, has happened. And, I'm just curious though, if maybe like now that everyone is home, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are home now. I wonder if like activity with anybody that like lives in an old house, or maybe has had some type of paranormal activity, if they've seen it increase, or if they've just noticed it, or maybe they've never noticed it, but now that they're home, are things happening? I'm just curious, like, are there new cases of people experiencing paranormal stuff?
It's interesting that you would think with people being home that spirit, especially 24/7, that right.
Like me?
Yeah, like you. That spirits would get, I would think, a little more irritated. My
dogs are.
Oh, well, I'm sure they're probably looking at you like, why aren't you at work?
Yeah.
You would think that the constant irritation of being on top of one another would cause the haunting to ramp up. Right. I would think that you would start seeing things. You would start seeing more things and more reporting of things. Interestingly enough, that's one of the things that, and actually we have a story here that you passed along to me that this weekend on Beyond the Darkness we had the Heinzens on from the Conjuring house.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one question we didn't ask them. That's interestingly enough, that's
See, you need me back on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm so kidding.
I'm not. But that's the one question that we didn't ask was with you being, because they're actually quarantined inside the Conjuring home.
Okay.
While the coronavirus is going on.
Because what I've noticed is now, because Derek's been working a lot more because they've added another person, another shift or whatever you call it, at the firehouse and stuff. So they need more people there each shift. So I'm home a lot more by myself, and because there isn't so much outdoor traffic and noises like usual. Because I'm in a bar town. It's like La Crosse, basically. Every block has like 5 bars. It's a very big party town, but yet every corner has a church. So to make up for the drinking, but so there's a lot of like bar noise and stuff that I'll deal with, when it gets warm out and stuff. But because all bars are closed and stuff, it's actually quite quiet.
Okay.
And so I hear a lot more now inside the house. And like there was. I'll tell you a bathroom story. So the way that our house has been it's like the rooms have changed, over time and stuff. And so, our house originally did not have a bathroom. Well, now it does, but the bathroom is like next to the stairs. And there have been a couple nights where I'm going on the toilet. It's like 2:00 in the morning because you got to do that late night pee. And I'll hear someone walking down the stairs because the stairs are right next to the bathroom. Like the closet door in the bathroom, it goes underneath the stairs. So, that's how close you are. So it's like little things like that. This. So now I go to the bathroom with the water running in the tub so that I don't hear it.
Oh my gosh.
Because I don't want to, I don't want the door to open from the stairs. So anyway, so sometimes when my dogs burst into the bathroom, it scares the hell out of me because I'm like, oh, because they have a tendency to push open the bathroom door if I don't click it. So it just goes boom, like slams against the wall because they just come full force. But anyway, so
oh my god,
yeah. So just things like that where I'm noticing more, at least like noises and stuff. Like I haven't seen anything lately, but yeah, just other things have been happening now that things like disappearing and then all of a sudden reappearing, which drives me absolutely insane.
Oh my gosh,
yeah. I'll have like a purse disappear out of my bedroom and reappear in another bedroom that I don't use, like underneath the TV, where it's like, okay, first of all, what the hell? And then I'll have like jewelry disappear, and I'll find it in the middle of my bed with the covers over it.
Weird.
Yeah. So it's like, because I would see the jewelry if I'm trying to make my bed, but yeah, things. Yeah. Anyway, I will have to sit down and I used to keep a journal on all the weird stuff that would happen in this house. So I'm going to have to continue doing that, but
wow.
Blog about it. But yeah, I've had because I didn't ask to buy a haunted house.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And you thought it would be cool, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm like, it's a fixer-upper, it's a good deal. I can make it my own. And now I'm like, what the hell? I really don't want to be watching shadows walk past, my door and I could see it through the crack. I'm like, eh. But, and it's one thing when, you've got other people in the house with you. It's another thing.
Yeah, when you're by yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Because even Tara, Tara.
Yeah.
Because she spent the night a couple times at my house. And there was one time where I had to leave to go to an event that she was later going to show up at.
Yep.
And when she got to the event, she's like, yep, your house is haunted. I heard people walking around upstairs. I go, yep, basically I hear the same thing.
Whoa.
So,
wow.
Yeah. But anyway, so I was just curious if other people were going to, if other people are starting to experience more paranormal stuff because they are home and they are aware more of what's going on. I don't know.
I'm sure it is
babbling.
Happening. Yeah. No. I mean, I'm sure they are. I'm sure you've got a great point there. It's and as well, I'm sure people are, on a related note, I'm sure people are seeing more UFOs because with people being home now and there not being as much smog in different cities and as much light pollution, I think people are seeing more UFOs as well.
Yeah, yeah, I would definitely think that. Hey, speaking of UFOs, have you watched that new show, Skinwalker Ranch?
Yep, we had the main doctor on Beyond the Darkness, and
Oh, the little blonde guy?
Yep. In fact,
I don't know his name. I just know what he looks like.
Yep. In fact, we had him on, and I actually saw the first 4 episodes before everybody else did. I saw the first 4 episodes on a screener. So I think everybody now is caught up to me. Everybody's seen the first 4 episodes, and I think number 5 is coming up next week, if I remember right. So,
what do you think of the show?
I was intrigued. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it, but and I know it's for TV, where we can't tell you the secret, when they want to start digging and stuff like that. And so, it was a little bit dramatized, but for the most part, I liked it. But that's one security guard.
Yeah.
I just don't know about him.
Yeah.
And that might be the female part of me where I'm just like,
No, he's hiding. He's hiding something. That security guard's hiding something.
Yeah, because he got all worked up, and I was like, dude, it's not even your property.
Well, but I think he's worked under a couple different administrations there, hasn't he? Didn't he work for Bigelow?
You know what? I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he did.
So he knows something about the Bigelow administration that was there. So he knows some of the secrets, but he's holding back. Or at least he knows something about the Bigelow administration and he's holding back. So he knows something about the property and he's just not saying. Because every time they want to do something, he's like, oh, I don't know.
I know. He's like the stickler.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Yeah.
Well, and then the big cheese was like, nope, you can't, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and he's like, remember? Or something like that. Like, trying to remind the guys. Oh,
Brandon, the executive?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, and Dave actually pointed it out to me. If you look, whenever they do a shot of him from his office,
yeah,
up over his shoulder, there's a little statue of the Hellraiser cube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. In fact, Dave took a picture of it and he sent it to Doug Bradley, the guy who plays Pinhead. And he started to laugh about it. He said, "That's awesome." And we pointed it out to Travis, and Travis said, "Oh, you gotta let," because we told him that we had sent it to Doug Bradley. He's like, you gotta let Brandon know that. Brandon would love to have Doug Bradley out to the ranch. It was like,
nice.
Wow, that'd be kind of cool. Put the two of them together and bring Pinhead out to the Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, maybe have you guys go out as well since you put the connection together.
Oh, that'd be cool. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued by the entire series, and the fact that they did actually show an unidentified flying object on television, to me is a huge step. Because if you remember the episode of Paranormal State that Dave did, they kind of hinted towards it, but they didn't really get it. You know? It's really the first time that they full on got one on TV. And just the scientific evidence alone that they brought to TV, I think has been pretty bold, So I think, even in just 4 episodes, they've come a long way. Now what they've got, because I think this is only, I think they said that it was only 8 episodes. I think it's only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not a full 12.
Yeah. It's not a full 12. So I think what they accomplish in this shortened season will really determine whether there's more to be had or more to be done out there.
Right.
But I can tell you off air from what we were talking to Travis about, because he said, I don't know, I don't know how they were going to do a series out there. And he said, I couldn't imagine what they were going to get out there. He said, but the minute I got out there, he said, man, I could see how you could do multiple seasons out there.
Okay.
So he was excited to get out there and do some stuff. He said, I could think of different experiments to do that would cost, maybe a couple $100 to a couple $100 million to prove that there's stuff out there. So it's just a matter of what Brandon wants to spend.
Right. Well, Lord knows he's got the money driving the Lamborghini and the private helicopter and the and all that stuff.
And it's a matter too of what Prometheus wants to film.
Yeah, that's true.
And how much time they want to take to film it. So the sky's not really the limit as far as what exactly they want to put on film and what they want to spend. But I think because what he had stated on our show was that when we had asked him, well, have you had any government agencies that have come forward and said you can't do this or you can't show this? He said no, if anything, because Travis or Dr. Taylor is hooked up with a lot of different government agencies and has worked through a lot of different government agencies. And these government agencies, if anything, he said, are encouraging him to go further. They want to know more about what's on that land. So he said, no, if anything, they've been encouraging me and they keep telling me, no, go further, do more out there. So he said, no, sky's the limit. As far as research goes, I can do whatever I want out there. Yeah. And he said that the land's never been owned by the government. It's never had government agencies out there testing it. So he said, sky's the limit.
Yeah. I mean, that is one nice thing. They don't have to just focus on the UFOs because they have so much other paranormal things happening that you can probably have multiple seasons because you can focus on, the what are they? Shapeshifters, the skinwalkers, right?
Yeah, the skinwalkers.
Yeah,
and then
just drew a blank. But, just like other things.
Yeah.
Other than just UFOs.
Yeah, you've got different paranormal phenomena out there you can take a look at. Although I would think the interest of the government alone would be, the UFO and the radiation phenomena that go on out there and where it's coming from.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd so much be interested in. They might be interested in the skinwalker phenomena, but the shadow people, I don't think they care.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It might be interesting though, just to have like one episode about it or something.
Well, they alluded to it. I think it was in the third episode, when they were out at that first little house. Mm-hmm. Or not the first house, the second house. They alluded to it that shadow people activity happened at that house. But they made it seem like it was such a trivial part of the property that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think the reason they did that is because if you focus on what's happened with them, then you take away from the focus of what they were trying to do out there. That's a kind of a story for a different part of the season or a different season altogether. And you kind of have to take things in bite-sized chunks and develop its own story arc, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
Yeah. You just can't throw a morsel out there and not explain it. So.
So one more thing, and then I'm thinking that maybe we could just do a few like paranormal stories, and then and then the next time we do an episode, then we'll have more segments and stuff. But I just wanted to catch up with you and see how you're doing and stuff. And also with the cocktails, because usually we start out with a cocktail and we kind of give you the recipe and stuff like that. This time, because I haven't left my house for quite some time, I'm on a shortage of alcohol.
What? An alcohol shortage?
It's been cocktail hour every day. So I am now cheating, and I'm having these daily tropical pouch things.
Yeah?
So I'm having the frozen hurricane, and it tastes like a melted popsicle, so it's pretty good.
Ooh.
Yeah, but next time I'll give you a drink to make if I don't get out to Minnesota. So that way you can tell me how it works. And then there's this new Nutella recipe I want to try. But
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, so next time we'll have cocktails or cocktail recipe. I mean, I still am having a cocktail. I'm actually almost done. So I'm about to go into the Jamaican Smile one.
Jamaican Smile?
Yeah, it's pink and it looks foo-foo-ish.
Ah, perfect.
Looks like strawberry, bananas, and pineapple. And then today I'm also waiting for a shipment from Amazon because I ordered paper umbrellas for my strawberry margaritas I'm going to make on Cinco de Mayo.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, no cocktail recipe today. But so did you hear the story about how Dolly Parton was the uncredited executive producer of Buffy the Vampire?
No.
Yes! I could not believe it when I heard it.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
Because I love me some Dolly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I am infatuated with this lady. If I was a lesbian, I'd probably be all over it. But or all over her, I must say. I mean, I just love her. I do. I love her. She makes me happy. But yeah, I just found that out the other day when I was on the interwebs reading some stories. Yeah, that she was an executive producer on Buffy the Vampire.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up real quick. I mean,
yeah.
not pull up Dolly. I mean, but you know, the only story I had heard about Dolly Parton had to do with her wanting to recreate her Playboy cover on her birthday.
Oh, well, she does look good for whatever her age is.
Yeah, let's see. I just pulled up Dolly Parton news just to see what I could.
Yeah. And I love how her look was based on like the town tramp.
Yeah.
Like that's what she aspired to be. That cracks me up. She's one funny lady.
Let's see here. Yeah, here it is. You can thank Dolly Parton for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It says in 1997, the year Buffy the Vampire Slayer made its television debut, Dolly Parton was asked by Paper Magazine about the extent of her fortune. With all my companies and all the businesses, Parton answered, I'm not quite sure how much I'm worth, but all told, I guess it's quite a bit. Parton guessed right. Savvy Investments have amassed the singer-actress entrepreneur a tidy sum. Today, Parton is estimated to be worth an even tidier $500 million.
Okay, forget the lesbianism.
Yeah.
She can just adopt me.
There you go. She can adopt me too. We can split it.
Yeah.
One such investment was in Sand Dollar, a television and film production company Parton founded in 1986 with Sandy Gallen, her former manager, roommate, and business partner. In the early 1990s, Sand Dollar president and CEO Gail Berman read Joss Whedon's screenplay for 1992's Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie when Sand Dollar became its distributor. She immediately saw its potential as a TV show and set about acquiring its television rights. Because the film wasn't a hit, it took the success of 1995's Clueless, which Berman thought shared tonal similarities with Whedon's original movie script, for her to start pursuing the idea of a Buffy TV show in earnest. Berman contacted Whedon, who was by then writing movies, including Toy Story and Alien Resurrection, but agreed to come back to television to run the show. 7 seasons and 1 spinoff later, the rest was TV history. Writing the checks all the while was Sand Dollar Television, the small screen arm of Parton and Gallen's production company. Sand Dollar co-produced Buffy the Vampire Slayer and its spinoff Angel with Whedon's company, Mutant Enemy. Berman and Gallen were listed as executive producers on both shows, while Parton's name stayed out of the credits. Huh. Without Parton's cash, though, Buffy Summers may never have made it to television. For that, fans will always be grateful. Perhaps that gratitude also explains why the fictional Vampire Slayer shares a birthday, January 19th, with the world's famous singer.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Look at that.
See, you learn something new every day.
I did.
And you're welcome.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where I came across that I was like, get out.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So now with us being home, I have totally, like, I'm constantly on my laptop, constantly watching Netflix and loving my reality shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like the biggest Bravo TV nut. I mean, I love all of those shows. They should actually come up one with Paranormal. That would be kind of funny with all the cattiness that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But so I've got a story actually on 2 of the reality stars doing having a paranormal experience. If you don't mind me just quick reading.
Sure.
Okay, so like I said, I'm a huge reality show nut, and the first story I've got, it's Vanderpump Rules. If anybody watches it, it's pretty bad, but it's so bad it's good. Mm-hmm. So there's one of the characters. Her name is Stassi Schroeder, and she once hosted a murder-themed birthday party. She got engaged to Bo Clark in a graveyard, and has been open about her dreams of owning the so-called Los Feliz. Is it Feliz? Murder house? Mm-hmm. So it couldn't be any more fitting that the bedroom in her new house in the Hollywood Hills looks onto a structure that's thought to be flooded with ghosts. In her recent Instagram stories, the Vanderpump Rules bride-to-be shared photos of the view from her bedroom. In the background, we can just make out the peak windows on a sprawling white home. One day I want to own the Wolf Lair Castle, Stassi said, referring to the regular building in question. Daily visual affirmations every day when I wake up. On the Instagram, the next slides, she shows a closer view of the home and then posts a snippet of information about the legendary castle. Apparently, the 1927 mansion has a haunted reputation. And have you ever heard of the Wolf Lair Castle?
Actually, personally, no.
Okay. So I've heard about it, but I don't know much about it. But one of the ghosts supposedly is Milton Wolf himself, the one that built it. Mm-hmm. And according to one of the previous owners, Bob Crane, he says that Mr. Wolf supposedly died at the dining room table, pitched forward into his bowl of minestrone. And what's funny is that when he bought the place, one of his welcoming gifts was that dining room table. But some of the strange things that have been reported, including doors opening by themselves, picture falling off the walls, and strange shrills coming from the tower. So that Bravo reality star has that kind of thing. I like her. She's mean. She's a mean girl, but she is into the paranormal. Mm-hmm. But the second one is Nene Leakes. So if you watch like Real Housewives, yep, she's the Atlanta episode or season series. Yep. Okay, so she's now on the show Celebrity Ghost Stories with Kim Russo.
Okay,
and so let's see here. Second reality star recently in the news is Nene Leakes. In an E! News exclusive sneak peek of Celebrity Ghost Stories, the Real Housewives of Atlanta star is with Kim Russo and exploring her past. Kim says in an exclusive sneak peek that I can tell Nene is very distracted, and I feel as if the messages I delivered from her mom earlier are still affecting her. When asked, Nene admits, my mom's stuff is really deep for me, so some of the things you said, yeah, it's a lot to hear. Kim says she gets visions of Nene isolated as a child, looking at kids playing, while experiencing a lot of anger. The reality star said her aunt raised her, and her mother missed out on key childhood events. Yes, it makes sense. I probably missed out on my mom just being there at special times and events. I was very active in school, and she was never at any events, Nene says. That's the part inside of you that's still the wound that I feel, and there's something connected with the reason you're hearing these children, Kim tells Nene. The new Celebrity Ghost Stories features Kim bringing stars back to sites of their previous paranormal experiences. Kim then works with the stars for an unfiltered, emotional, and sometimes terrifying reunion with the ghosts of their past. She explains spirits give her symbols and hints, but it's up to her to put the hints together to form a story. And then you can catch Celebrity Ghost Stories airing on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on A&E. And other guests in this season include Ice-T and Coco, Paul Abdul, Terry Bradshaw, Taye Diggs, and Kelly Osbourne. So those are my 2 reality stars that are in the paranormal news.
Cool. Very cool. You know, we were talking earlier, Mallie, about the folks who own the Conjuring house.
Yeah.
And the darkzone.tv actually has kind of an interesting little thing that they're doing. that's coming up here in the beginning of May and actually starts May 9th. And, a lot of people who are out there who are paranormal investigators are kind of getting the itch because you can't exactly go out there and investigate any properties right now.
Right.
But there is a Conjuring House live stream that's going to be happening starting the 9th. All you need to know right now is what we're going to give you for the 24-hour week-long spookathon that's going on. The real Rhode Island house that inspired the movie Conjuring will open its doors for the world to explore and discover the eerie, uncanny, and fearsome happenings that go on there daily. In a scenario where the world is under lockdown and people have quarantined themselves in their homes, how would it be to take a peek into one of the most iconic haunted houses? Well, the real Rhode Island house that inspired the movie Conjuring will open its doors for the world to explore and discover the eerie, uncanny, and fearsome happenings that go on there daily. The house is a 24-hour week-long online event created and hosted by the online supernatural enthusiasts known as Dark Zone Community. It will give you a virtual walkthrough of the Rhode Island property seen in the legendary supernatural movie and will take you on a thrill ride as you see paranormal activities and investigations. The original house that became famous as haunted was eventually bought over by paranormal investigator Corey Heinzen, who believes that the property is still haunted. The house is currently occupied by him and his family, and now the Heinzens are opening up their doors for you to take a look at what goes on behind the scenes inside the house. The Heinzens will walk you through their home during that week, which they allege continues to be haunted despite their presence, and shows you how they live among the spirits, especially in the current situation of a pandemic. You can have a direct but virtual experience of the paranormal activities happening live. Heinzen and his family will also show you how they conduct seances, conjuring investigations, and a full week of planned activities. And yes, Mallie, Corey even told us on Beyond the Darkness that they have a Ouija board that they'll be using. It's true. They'll be using a Ouija board while they're out there during the investigations. A host of paranormal celebrities will also join the event through a virtual meeting. Expect to see people like Andrea Perrin, author and survivor of the original Conjuring haunting, Kristen Luman from Ghost Hunters, Susan Slaughter from Paranormal Caught on Camera, Brian Cano from Paranormal Caught on Camera, Patrick Doyle from Ghost Mine, Jay Verberg from Ghost Mine, Colin Browan from Paranormal Files, Dave Schrader from Beyond the Darkness, and Jimmy Church from Fade to Black, and many other guests. You can see this on the Dark Zone Network. They'll live stream the house event for 24 hours for one whole week. The streaming is available on their community channel, Dark Zone TV. You can see it at darkzone.tv. Streaming starts at 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific on Saturday, May 9th, and will run 24/7 for an entire week. So there you go.
How many places that are haunted do you think are doing like live stream or where you can go check it out like for free? Like wasn't one of them like the Winchester house? Wasn't that where you could go do a virtual?
Yeah, it's kind of rare. The Winchester House, something? Yeah, Winchester House does virtual tours and investigations. Now the Conjuring House, I've only seen it done in a couple of instances, and the reason being is that, and I know like Travel Channel and when they've done the Halloween specials, have done virtual investigations. I think it's been done in 4-hour increments, but rarely is it done on a continual basis for a long period of time. Reason being is, one, bandwidth. It takes a lot of bandwidth to do something like that. 2, manpower. It sometimes takes, manpower to keep interactive with an audience. And 3, the entertainment value. I mean, it does take, it takes people to entertain an audience. So I think it's hard to entertain for a week or to keep people shuffling in to entertain an audience for a week. So you do get it in short spurts, but never for a week like this. So It's kind of rare, but it's cool to see, something like that.
I wonder how the seance is going to turn out. I mean, are they going to have someone is one of them a medium, or are they having someone come to be the medium, or
Corey,
how are they going to do that?
Corey and his wife, I think his wife actually is, I think it might be his wife is psychic, so I think she's doing the seance.
Okay.
He does Ouija board work himself. So that's the fun part that we found out about. And again, you can check out Beyond the Darkness on the Apple Podcasts or the Podcast One app, or at podcastone.com. And listen to that interview, because he does detail some of how they're going to go about their end of stuff. Because they are quarantined. It's not like they're going to bring people in. They're doing a lot of these things on their own. But they do have people interacting with them over the net. So a lot of these stars are going to be interacting with them over the net. Like Dave is going to be interacting with them over the net. Jimmy Church over the net, Kristen over the net, Susan Slaughter over the net, and so on. So, like I said, they are quarantined. They are on their end at the house. So everything that's seen will be over the net. A lot of the stars will be interacting over the net as well. So everything they see is what you'll see over the net. And a lot of times you'll be interacting with them over the net as well, and be part of an investigation with them as well.
I wonder if this becomes successful, if other people will start doing this.
I would think so. And, as scary as it seems, pun intended, it may be a while before we get back to investigations too, with the coronavirus. And there may be a lot of places that will remain closed for a while, Mal. So I think maybe virtual investigations may be the way to go. You may see some of the bigger attractions like Waverly Hills and places like Nopaming Sanatorium here in Minnesota doing things like virtual investigations, where you have to tune into the net and do an investigation that way rather than go in person. And follow an investigator. Maybe they hire a more well-known investigator to do the investigation, and you follow along with them, and you see something and you point it out to them, and communicate through someone who's monitoring a chat room.
Kind of like when they do those Halloween specials.
Yeah.
The Travel Channel.
Yep. I think that's probably the wave of the future. And, and then that way, you're able to participate that way and participate in safety from home, until at least you can get back out there safely and investigate.
Well, I hope it works. I hope that, people get to see something happen. I mean, it has so much history and so many stories. I hope that the one time where the spirits are like, yeah, fuck you. You know what I mean? We're not going to do it because you're asking us to. Maybe. It's a week long. I'm tired.
I could see that coming through on the Ouija board. F-U-C.
Not going to do it. I'm not a dog. I don't come on demand.
That's true. Yeah.
That would be me. I'm tired.
I'm tired. What is this coming through on the Ouija board? Never mind.
Yeah. Or what my comment been lately is, I got to put pants on for this.
Yeah, really.
If it requires pants, I'll pass. Thank you.
Have you seen some of the funny things that have been happening online from some of these newscasters that are broadcasting from home?
I've seen the ones with like their animals kind of photobomb the camera.
Oh, I mean, there's funnier stuff than that.
Or are they missing pants?
Yeah,
Do
there's
they put shorts on or something.
One guy who showed up on camera for the news. He had a jacket and shirt on, but no pants underneath. He got suspended by his news channel. There's another another newscaster in Spain who's, for some reason, he's got the upshot from the webcam.
Okay.
And in the background, his mistress is leaving. And they knew it was his mistress because his wife wasn't home at the time. And she's getting dressed as she's leaving in the background. He got suspended from he got fired from his job.
I heard that attorneys, because of what's going on and everyone is in close, they're all in the house and you have no private personal space, that divorce attorneys are saying that there is a big, increase of people asking for or filing for divorce because they're now realizing that they can't stand the person they're married to, or that affairs are getting discovered now because you are home. You are, more, you're seeing more things where before you just kind of brush past it, like, yeah, whatever, But so I heard that more people are filing for divorce during this time. But then I also heard that more affairs are ending because you can't go see the other person.
I bet. How are you going to get out?
So, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. You can't say I have to work late. We've got an important meeting in the morning I have to prepare for, or, went out to have drinks with the guys and, things like that. I don't speak from experience, but since I'm naming off excuses, but, that you can't, that these affairs are ending, but more people are filing for divorce because they're catching their cheating spouse, or they're just realizing they have nothing in common and they can't stand the person. So divorce attorneys are going to be doing very well in the upcoming months.
It's a booming industry, Mel.
Yes, exactly.
Yep,
exactly. Right up there with taxes and death. So, but anyway. So I've got 2 more stories I can do. And then if you wanted to wrap up with yours.
Okay.
And then we'll call it a night so I can drink this other one because I'm starting to slur already. Drink my tropical frozen Jamaican Smile out on my porch with my pants on, yelling at the neighbors about social distancing.
Hopefully you have your pants on when you're out on your porch.
No, I've been the queen of yoga pants lately. Okay, so have you ever watched Grey's Anatomy?
Yes, once or twice.
Okay, so there is an actress. Her name is Camilla Luddington, and she says that she would be a ghost hunter if she wasn't an actress. Yeah, so apparently this television doctor has a penchant for the paranormal. When asked in a previous interview what career path she would pursue if she hadn't become an actress, she responded with an out-of-this-world occupation. I would have been a ghost hunter, she told the host of Young Hollywood back in 2016. She said, I'm serious because I watch those shows where they go in and they find ghosts. That sounds so professional. And they find ghosts and they talk to them. I think I would have been pretty good at it. She also revealed that she hasn't had the opportunity to give the practice a try and would actually be hesitant to put her ghost hunting skills to the test. She said, I'm also scared of ghosts, the Grey star admitted. So I wouldn't want to summon any unless, I had my own show. If I got paid to do it, I would do it. I would go in. Oh, okay, so now it's all about the money.
Yeah, well, good luck on that.
Yeah, exactly, as we all know from experience.
Yeah. I think you ought to stick to Grey's Anatomy. It probably pays a little bit more.
You think?
Yeah.
We actually go into it with all the equipment and all that stuff we buy and renting the place to investigate and traveling and all that stuff. Yeah, it's definitely an expensive hobby.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And then, do you know who Jennifer Coolidge is?
Name sounds familiar.
Okay, so she's from Legally Blonde, Best in Show, American Pie. She was the mom.
Oh, yeah. Stifler's mom?
Yeah. Okay, so her bathroom is supposedly haunted. So, and that's not after you and Dave left, but
okay.
It says that her bathroom is haunted. That's right. There's a ghost living in one of her toilets. Ben Feldman and Nico Santos broke the supernatural news on an episode of Two Friends, a nice time hangout with people who know each other well. That is a long name for a podcast.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, it might be just the most significant entertainment news to come out of 2020 thus far. You can't use the downstairs bathroom, Feldman said, because the ghost of a little girl is in there, and so you have to go upstairs to the bathroom next to the room of her kimonos. Feldman and Santos learned this information while attending one of Coolidge's Halloween parties, where apparently guests were directed upstairs when they had to relieve themselves. Unfortunately, we don't know anything else about this ghost, but it definitely gives a new meaning to scared shitless.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so that's all the little gossip with the paranormal from me. What do you have left?
Well, evidently the house where Jaws child star Judith Barzey was murdered is haunted. This according to one report. A family in California say their house, the site of Jaws child star Judith Barzey's murder, is haunted and that they struggle to sleep at night because of it. The Bernal family moved into the residence in 2001 and later found out from a neighbor that a double homicide had taken place 13 years prior, a fact that they weren't aware of when purchasing their new home. Child star Judith and her mother Maria were murdered by Joseph Barzey, Judith's father, in 1988. Following the family's discovery, they went on to Quibi's new show Murder House Flip to talk about their experience with the show's team giving the house a makeover. Joseph shot both Judith and Maria before soaking their bodies in gasoline and setting them alight. He then killed himself in the family's garage 2 days later. Judith, who was just 10 years old when she was murdered, most prominently starred as Ducky in The Land Before Time and Anne-Marie in All Dogs Go to Heaven, both released posthumously, by the way, as well as starring in Jaws 4: The Revenge, along with several television shows, such popular 80s shows as Cheers. She also appeared in TV commercials as well. Gabby Bernal was 10 years old when she moved into the house and sleeps in the room believed to be where Judith was murdered. I didn't sleep last night at all, she went on to say. I felt like someone was watching me. Stuff like that makes it very real and scary and very unsettling, she said. I started having an imaginary friend named Joseph. He would open and close the garage door when my dad would come home and turn off and on the lights. We came to find out the killer's name was actually Joseph. Sometimes I feel like someone is behind me when I walk down the hallway, which is kind of scary when you think about it. That's what Gabby went on to say. She added that she can't sleep facing her bedroom window as Judith was allegedly shot in the head while sleeping facing in that direction. Ooh, that's creepy.
That's just awful.
Yeah. Dream catchers are also hung throughout her room to help ease her recurring nightmares. Gabby's mother even admitted hearing footsteps in the house as well, while her father said he feels like someone is behind him while he walks down the hallway. The show's designer, Mikkel Welch, said, "You can just tell there's so much love in this house, but at the same time, this house has taken an extreme toll on Gabby and her family." Designer Joelle, I believe it's Uziel, I've never seen the show before, added that she could tell there was a bad energy in the house. The series sees Mikkel and Joelle visit, or it could be Michael too, visit other houses where murders have taken place in order to renovate them, including one home that may still have bodies buried in its garden, as well as as well as a dream home a couple could only afford because a woman had been dismembered there. New episodes of Murder House Flip air every Wednesday on Quibi. The first 2 episodes are available to stream now. And the last story I have takes place in Indonesia, where, believe it or not, Mallie, if you happen to walk outside your home and take a stroll during self-quarantine, well, and you happen to be a violator, you get locked up in a haunted house as punishment. Yeah, so
that wouldn't be so bad for us.
Well, no, not at all. But for other people, it's a living nightmare. If you enter Indonesia and don't immediately self-quarantine for 14 days, well, beware, you might be locked up in a haunted house. So there, take that. With 647 COVID-19 deaths so far in Indonesia, an area of Java is taking this peculiar measure to make sure that people follow the social distancing rules. Shragan Regency head Kujdanar, boy, this is going to be tough. Kujdanar Untung Uni Sukawati, there you go, Sukawati, says she issued the unusual edict this week to deal with an influx of people to the area after lockdowns in the capital, Jakarta, and other major cities. Sukawati instructed communities to repurpose abandoned houses that were feared to be haunted, tapping widespread beliefs in the supernatural, which play a key role in Indonesian folklore. If there's an empty and haunted house in the village, put people in there and lock them up, Sukawati told AFP Tuesday when asked about the rule. Officials in Sapat village chose a long-abandoned house and outfitted it with beds placed at a distance and separated by curtains. So far, 5 victims, or people, as they're known, have been scared straight with the haunted house treatment. So there you go. Yeah. Haunted
I would totally volunteer to be put in a haunted house, but
you just volunteer. And by the way, the other Dolly Parton story I was telling you about, she's been asking or eyeing up a Playboy cover for her 75th birthday. And no, it's not a nude cover. She actually appeared in a bunny costume when she was 32 years old in 1978.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's looking to once again recreate that cover on her 75th birthday.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, good God. I mean, she's had a boob job, so it's not like she'd have to worry about them being all saggy. Saggy and flappy. Hey, have you seen that real quick? That TikTok, because I just discovered TikTok. The TikTok video where it's the people singing, or what is the song? Oh crap, where it's is it Genesis or Phil Collins? And then at the very end, they had to flap. They like either flap their boobs or they flap their, the other stuff. Because guys do it. It's like they get out of the shower and then they have a towel wrapped around them, and then it's like the one part of the song they do the beat with either their,
I have not. No.
Yeah. God, now I need okay, just everyone Google the Phil Collins song on TikTok, and then where people flap their private parts to it. It is pretty funny. I was like, oh my goodness gracious, where has this TikTok been for a while? It's addicting. It really is. Some of the stories I'm like, but some of them I'm just like the little dance routines and stuff are cute. But yeah, this flip flop thing with the Phil Collins song is funny. Anyway, I think it's Phil Collins. I might be getting my TikTok videos mixed up.
I don't know.
But anyway.
All I know is on AEW a couple weeks ago, they had a flim flam contest. It looked a lot like a TikTok video. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever do TikTok, but it's enjoyable to watch for the most part.
Yep.
So some of them get creative. But so I loved catching up with you.
Yeah, I did too.
Thank you. I know that our schedules have been kind of weird lately.
Yeah.
Especially with everything going on. But I can't wait to do this again.
Most definitely.
All right. So telling everybody good night and stay safe. And until we meet again.